a good day. And this is the final days of the coming so exciting 4 days. I hope you have a good time. And last night we have a good video, and I appreciate Sylvia and Peter. And we saw from Australasia and back to Colombia and everywhere, and connect everyone is in one ocean. So the ocean connected together. So the final stream will be the cooperation from scientists and all the educators, and everyone is doing a very good job. And that's the best leader is Mike Springer. And Mike Springer is a retired professor and Florida University, actually worked for 4 universities. Yeah, so from Washington University, University of Washington, and ever Seattle, and also and do a lot of community engagement in Florida and everywhere, fishery science, and do a lot of science cooperation with education. So he's the best guy, and we want to share about 25 minutes and leading the stream to have a good discussion. That's a big applause. Welcome, Mike Springer, Professor.
Good morning. It's really an honor and a pleasure to be here today to talk with you about instilling an ocean ethic in home, school, and community. Now, I don't have to teach you about an ocean ethic because I know that it's in your head and your heart. But how do we teach that ocean ethic in our homes, in our schools, in our communities? And what I plan to do today is use myself as an example of how I've come to instill an ocean ethic in myself. So if I don't know what I'm talking about, then I don't know who I am. So what I'm going to do today is talk about my background in marine and ocean science, then my story. My story is like a skipping stone. Then the need for an ocean ethic, and then how I and you can be leaders in instilling an ocean ethic. And then the challenge. The challenge begins with change. So this is kind of the academic of who I am. I spent 50 years. As Craig says, he's old, but I'm much older than him. I'm a professor emeritus. I do community development, community capacity building. I was a past associate dean, which means I just go to a lot of meetings and I do anything as an administrator. I was a past Sea Grant administrator in several states that I'll mention later. I was a past president and on the board of the National Marine Educators Association. I helped create and form the Gulf of Mexico Ocean Observation System. Peter talked about Ocean Canada Network. Well, it's the same thing in the United States. And one of the things that I was happy about is I made sure there was an education component in that. I played a small role in creating Ipmen, and Harry will talk about that. I had the idea, but Sylvia and Peter and Harry and a number of others made it happen. So I had the idea with Harry and others, but they were instrumental. And hopefully this afternoon they will tell you about that. And then I had an opportunity to work on the international project. But I wanted to show these, and I'm an advocate of the question. I wanted to show you that I was young once. That's snorkeling in the Florida Keys. The next picture is my wife and I in self-breathing devices. We snorkeled with the whale sharks in the Georgia Aquarium once. This is a picture of me retired in catching fish, a small fish. My wife catches bigger fish. And in my rebellious youth, I thought I was going to be a deep sea diver. That's really me with hair. That's me. So I trained to be a deep sea diver, but that did not work. But that's not what I want to talk about. This other picture is where I live in Florida, in Taiwan. If you look, we are fairly close on latitude line, pretty close. And where I live is close to where we are in Kechung. we're all connected by one ocean. I don't have to talk about that much more. But what I want to talk about is a story. We all have a story. You have a story. I have a story. I learned about stories working with the traditional people. Their story, in my view, is part of the way they tell their science, their observation. We look at journals, but their story is intergenerational, where they talk about their story of how things happen. And Peter talked about that. They know where to date, they know where to do their research, but if they don't engage them, maybe that's not going to happen. But you and I, hopefully by the end of this discussion, we are influenced by people, we're influenced by places, and we are influenced by events. My story is like a skipping stone. How many of you know what that means, like a skipping stone? Have you ever skipped a stone? You take a stone, you throw it, it skips, and then it compunks. What do you need to have a good skipping stone? It needs to be flat and polished. I was not very polished in my youth, so I was not a very good skipping stone. I was a rough stone. And that's my story. I'm going to give you a little course of the United States. I live here now in Florida. I think maybe this pointer will work. Okay. I grew up here in Wisconsin on the shores of Lake Michigan. And I would go down and play when I was a youth. And I would try to skip stones. I didn't know how to skip stones, so I had these big rocks that they skip. No, they were like me, very rough along the edges, very heavy too. But that's where my love for the water first began. But in talking with Harry, we were both rambunctious youth. And our parents said, boy, there's probably no hope for us. But we turned out pretty good, I think. And I did well in school, in high school. And my parents thought very important education. My mother only had a high school education. My father only had an 8th grade education. But I learned that I could get by in school if I studied hard. Now, I didn't study that hard, but studied enough. But I was more interested in sports and girls at that time. I don't know, that's probably not the youth today. So I went to school for 2 years, and then I dropped out of college. I went to college, played sports and then I dropped out. In those days, it was I'll tell you how old I am. Vietnam War was happening. I lost some friends. Civil rights was happening. There was a lot of unrest in the United States, like there is now. And I dropped out, and I worked for a couple of years in a factory. I thought I was going to be a commercial diver. And then a friend, a mentor, an elder, former coach said, Mike, you ought to try school again. You have some potential. I hadn't heard that before from the academic side. So I thought, I'll try it. And you know what? I never left the university system. I went to school in Wisconsin here, University of Wisconsin, Madison. I got bachelor's degrees in government and history, master's in public administration, environmental policy, a master of science in water resource management, and later on I ended up getting a PhD. But my first job was, for my mentors, working up here in a small rural community in Wisconsin. And that's my first experience working with First Nation people. In Wisconsin, we called them, was Menominee Indian Reservation. My job at the time was take university resources and expertise and help deal with local problems. And so we brought the Menominee Indian Nation in, and that's my first experience to realize they had an ethic in them, a land ethic. And they were able to show me that they had generations and generations of experience in conservation. And that was my first experience. I thought, well, that's very interesting. Then I moved way over here to work on an interesting program with four universities. And my job was to take the expertise of these 4 universities and deal with the Columbia River, which is 270,000 square miles, and deal with the issues. The river is used for power, for irrigation, for agriculture, and there were fisheries. But unfortunately, the power, the dams, the logging in that were decimated the salmon. And as Sylvia said yesterday, they were called fish wars. And my job was to, and I worked with a number of the native tribes in this area to bring them together with scientists. How could you resolve these problems? And again, I was able to meet some elders that again showed me the respect that they had for the land and the water, and showed me that the salmon was a very important part of their life. They would say that the salmon coming back were maybe their ancestors coming back to give back food and sustenance. I said, wow, that is really something. Then I could never keep a job, right? So then I went up to the University of Washington there, where I became the administrator for the Sea Grant program, where we had offices all around the state where we dealt with similar issues. And we had an office where I worked with the Makah Indians, which is based here in the tip. Sylvia worked with, had a talk about the Quinault Indians. And again, it was bringing university resources to work together. And again, it amazed me, the stories and the wisdom that they brought, the traditional knowledge that I was able to bring to bear. One other interesting thing that happened to me, I got a call one day from the governor's office. Mike, we want you to be involved in this new commission dealing with nuclear waste. Nuclear waste, I had nothing about nuclear waste. We want you to help develop an educational program, because in the United States, we have 120 nuclear plants. The government in the 1950s said, utilities, you develop nuclear power and we'll take care of the waste. You know what happened? Nothing. In the United States, you know where all that nuclear waste that is harmful for thousands of years, it sits on those 120 plants. And what the federal government did, they said, let's find a place. One of the places they were thinking about was right in the middle of Washington, where they had a reservation, what they call an energy reservation, where they actually developed the plutonium for one of the bombs. But it was right in the midst of the Yakima Indian Nation. And my good friend Russell Jim, who's an elder of the Yakima Indian Nation, became a good friend, and we were on the commission together. And again, he shared with me so many things, not during the commission meetings, but over a few beers, of how important it was to involve the First Nation people. And he was a bitter man at times because he had to reinstill the culture of his nation to the youth, because our government at the time, sad story, took it away. And then the last trip that I had here is that yellow tip right at the end. That's where Peter sort of lives, Vancouver Island. And we had a conference there in 2001. And met Jung. He brought his students from Korea. And Sylvia Glorious Knively worked at the University of Victoria, and she worked with First Nation people. I don't know the Alert Bay, if they were a nation, if they're a tribe, but she worked with them. And for one day of the conference, they came down. And I remember, I think it was Chief Leonard George came down. They spent a whole day with us. He brought his whole group down there, must have been 100 Native Americans, First Nation people. They had all their button blankets and garb on, and they told stories. And one of the most exciting things they did, they also showed us dances. Now, in their tradition, they could not share their dances, but they could share a dance that others had given to them. And again, a unique experience that we all had. Then my final trip, I came back here to work at the University of Florida as an associate dean, where I had 200 people that could go out and involve in natural resource issues and programs. and again, was able to meet other indigenous people. And it was from there I was able to travel internationally and do a lot of projects. Because at that time, I had money. When you're administrator, there's always little pockets of money. Now, I have no money. I'm retired. But that's kind of my story. And you have a story. Just think, reflect. Are there people that influenced you? We would do workshops. We can't do the workshops. We don't have time for that. But there are people in your life probably influenced you. Some people say it was my father, was a teacher, it was maybe a colleague. One person in one of our workshops said, it was my grandson. He came back from school and he taught me the importance of the water, the ocean. So you never know when people are going to influence. Places influence you. This place maybe influenced you. It's a beautiful place. When you travel, it gives you an idea. And events are also important. Two quick stories. Dr. Sasaki, I met him. He came to a training program that I was running nationally, and he was at Berkeley with Craig, and we met at NMEA. And Chiyoshi says, I'd like to go to your national training. Well, really not for international people. And I asked him one question. I thought, well, he's not going to come. I said, do you have money? He said, yes. Well, then you can come. And then he spent a week in Washington, D.C. learning about the Sea Grant program. A month or two later, I was doing a program on climate change. He calls me up from Berkeley and says, can I come? Do you have money? Yes. So he came for that. And that's how we developed a strong relationship. And then the event is, I went and visited him several times in Japan, and then the tsunami hit. And he changed. The event helped change him. This is my view, that he became more important to teach the youth about the water cycle and the importance of the mountain. And I remember being in the mountains in the High River, where he brought children up, and he wanted them to learn about the water. So he put life vests on, basically threw them in the water, and they floated down. But the one thing he said I remember, he said, I want them to smile again because they were traumatized. So I learned, again, something from you. A second event, another big earthquake. One of the proudest students that I have, that earthquake in Haiti, 2010, killed 250,000 people. What the students decided to do is gather a bunch of materials and go to Haiti and give that out for help. They came back very proud, and they talked to some. Am I helping you? That local people, and she was a Haitian American. They said, no, we don't need your stuff. We need help. We need skills. We need knowledge. And they went back devastated, but they said, oh, they found that the teachers had no training. A lot of them did not have college degrees. So they set up a teacher training program. They started out with 4 volunteers. I came and was a volunteer the first year. They had 400 people from Haiti come. The teachers were in strike, but they came because they were so thirsty for knowledge. And we're in a room about a third of this size. 100 people crammed in a room, 100 degrees. I thought I spilled water, but it was sweat dripping from me. But they were so thirsty to learn about knowledge. Now they have a staff of 40. They won a UNICEF award for the teacher training that they've done because they're teaching the most important thing. And Ray knows this. What do teachers do? They're farmers, because what do? They plant seeds in people's minds. And they want me to come back, but there's too much political unrest for me to go back there now. So anyhow, I have to go back here. Ocean literacy is so important. And I don't need to talk about that, but the one thing I point out, we need to make informed and responsible decisions regarding the ocean. In the environmental theme, sometimes you create awareness and understanding and action. A lot of times, you don't know what the right thing to do. You may think you do. So we need to guide people. What are some of the actions? And so I talked a little bit about ethics. Socrates, 2,500 years ago, Western society. He said, we don't choose evil. but we fail to achieve by ignorance or lack of knowledge. And that's why we're so important, because we provide knowledge. We need a framework about the ocean that are beneficial to future, present, future generations. We need to have that ocean ethic that we all have, I think, ingrained in others. And what I've learned, I've seen in many indigenous people, they have that knowledge and they need to pass it down. But as my friend Russell Jim says, even their youth in some ways have forgotten some of that. So I take my ocean ethic from what I call a land ethic. This individual was Aldo Leopold. He says the thing is right when it tends to preserve the integrity, stability, and beauty of the community. It's wrong when it doesn't. Basically, we need to look holistically. And humans are a part. They're not above it, dominating. They're a part of the environment. So he rejects the human-centered view. This is an excellent book called San All County Almanac. It's more like a reading parables. And he wrote a book like Thinking Like a Mountain. It's a beautiful story, but the story is he went hunting one day in Arizona, 1900, and they were supposed to kill the wolves because they were killing the deer. Well, they shot, and he went down into this valley, and all the cubs left, but there was a female wolf that he could see the green fade in her eyes as she passed on. And he knew then, he said, oh, I know like the wolf knows. I need to think like a mountain. What happened when all the wolf died? There were more deer. What did the deer do? They ate all the vegetation. What happened when the rain came? The whole mountain collapsed because of rain and mud. And he realized we need to have a balance. So he created the Field of Wildlife Management, the Wilderness Society. And I had the opportunity to work with his students in the University of Washington. I worked with his daughter, Palo colleges, to try to develop this ecological connectivity, which is so important today. So instilling an ocean ethic means you need to learn the ocean principles, ocean literacy. But what do you do with that? What are the ways that you can help guide people to make it happen? You need positive actions. Give them personal actions, community involvement. You know, it's a first step. Like yesterday, David said, it's more than just picking up trash. We need to rethink what we're doing. We need to develop advocacy. We need to work in home and work. We need to work in engaging collective actions, collaborate, work with others, use social media. I was telling people yesterday, my students taught me how to use Facebook and Instagram and all that stuff. And advocate for change. Advocate for change. We don't do that enough. That's important. So, how are you a leader? This comes from a very important study in business. They interviewed 20,000 leaders from around the world. And this is how they distilled. I always remember it. Mice. I remember mice. I don't have to look at the slide. Because when I would go to work as administrator, am I following the mice principles? And I think as we try to develop an ocean ethic, as a leader, you need to think about mice. Model the way. Be an example. Don't do as I say, like my mother, do as I do. Be a model in your home, in the classroom, community. Instill a shared vision. What is the vision? What do we want? We want a sustainable ocean future, right? Instill that into that shared vision. Challenge the process. I know wherever you work, home, community, school, there are challenges. There is bureaucracy. You need to challenge that if you really want to create change. Now, it may not be easy, but if you have that ethic inside you, enable others to act. If I'm a leader, I can't say, you need to do this, that. You need to enable others. Give them resources. Give them time. Give them small tasks where they become leaders. Because soon, like me, I'm not going to be here. I need to make sure I have leaders that can happen. And the most important, in my view, encourage the heart. That's the passion that we have. We need to encourage the heart. My wife works in 4-H. It's a after-school volunteer program where students love to come. They don't have to come because they learn about the world in the hands-on. 4-H, head, heart, hands, heart. Healthy mind, healthy heart, healthy mind, head, healthy heart, use hands for experiential learning, and those 4. I was in Indonesia, how I learned. Head, heart, mind. Individual came up and he said, "You forgot the most important H." What is it? Hope. We provide the hope for future generations. And that I always remember that. So whenever I travel, I learn something. So the 5th H is hope. So remember mice. When you see mice, remember, model the way, instill a shared vision, challenge the process, enable others to act, and encourage the heart. Whoop, almost done. Having an ethic means change. Here's 4 people. When we had a really, I should be apologize. When we had a really good president. We don't have a good president now in my Barack Obama said, change will not come if we wait for it. We are the ones that are going to create the change. Margaret Mead, a famous anthropologist, says, no doubt that a small group of people will change the world. That's the only thing that will. Jane Goodell, who worked with the monkeys, she's actually in Portland, Oregon right now. She says, what you do makes a difference, and you have to decide what kind of difference you want it to be. Don't wait for others. And then Mahatma Gandhi, if you want to change the world, be the change. So that's the challenge. So making a difference in the sustainable ocean. You and your students are the ones that can help make a difference. And that's the challenge. So what did I do in my brief amount of time? I gave you a little bit of background of who I am. I told you my story, like a skipping stone. I still have rough edges, but I'm okay. I'm getting better. The importance of people, the importance of place, the important events in my life, and I know in your life that are making a difference. We talk about the need. We need an ocean ethic that's in our heart that we can share with others. It's more than book smart. You can have all the principles and know them in the world, but if you don't put it into practice, what good is it? In my view, as an old person. And leadership. You can be the leaders. You are leaders. You may not know it, but remember mice. Remember mice. And change does start from within. You can't change others if you don't change yourself. So, individually, we are only one drop, but together we are an ocean. And as a skipping stone stops and ends, it creates ripples. So I hope you are like a skipping stone and you create ripples in your life and others so that we have an environmental ethic, an ocean ethic. So with that, I thank you. I hope I gave you some ideas and thoughts for the future, and we may have maybe a minute for a question or a comment. So thank you so much.
Thank you very much for sharing with us such a very inspiring story, which I can relate because my first experience with indigenous people was in Arizona, USA, through the former UNESCO regional advisor, Dr. Darlene Macer, of the in American University of Southern Asia, where I also sit as one of the members of the governing board. So I was able to meet the Navajo tribe and the Apache tribe. So I was inspired by them. That when I get back to the Philippines, I tried to, in my place, Bataan, I found out that we also have indigenous people, the Aita people in Bataan. And therefore, when I heard about an opportunity to prepare a project proposal by the National Research Council of the Philippines, so we visited our Aita tribe and provided them livelihood program and they were very appreciative people. And I learned a lot from them that they really love the ocean. They get their traditional medicinal plants from the ocean. They are even a great protector of the ocean. So I was so inspired with your presentation that I also with the one of the Ipmen 2025 Takao Declaration made mention about indigenous people. So to help them and also to learn from them, and indeed, we learn a lot from the indigenous people. They are even more environmental, protector, and we really learn a lot from their experiences, which we can also share in our respective classrooms. Thank you very much, Dr. Professor Emeritus Michael Schneider. Thank you.
The one thing that you said that's important, we learn from each other. You don't have to be a university professor to learn. You can learn from others. You can even learn from youth. And if you're arrogant, you say, I have all the answers as a professor. Like some of my colleagues are, we say, to hell with you. I don't say it that way, but I think that way.
Okay, Mike, thanks so much. That was really a great inspirational talk. It was interesting how you were saying about collaboration, because I was looking at the news today, and a lot of stuff's going on in the United States, and they just changed the language from consulting consensus with the tribes to collaborate and coordinate. And having worked with an organization that works with the federal government, when you collaborate and coordinate, there's an uneven scale. You can collaborate and coordinate and ignore. So I think consult and consensus is really important. Also, when you were talking about influences, a major influence on me were books. I guess that is a subcategory of people, but I'm about the same age as you, and another way of seeing in the 1970s really changed my mind. And then finally, on your champions, I think Greta Thunberg is a good one for me. And, Ipmen has tried to reduce our carbon footprint, and I just think each of us have to consider not only our single-use plastics, but also our footprint. Every time we travel, every time we fly, we have to make it meaningful because we're adding to the carbon pollution. Thank you.
I do one quick point. I would consult with government. Government are the worst people to involve people. It's one way. They inform you. Maybe they consult you, tell you what to do. And then maybe they involve you in some meaningless committees, so they cooperate. But the most important thing is when you can work together and involve them and essentially empower them so they're cooperators and co-leaders, or even maybe leaders. But government does not want to do that. It's not only in the United States and other countries. And I would work with local people and informal people, educational people. Say, we have all the answers. We give you the information. It's like Peter said, if you don't involve them, you're not going to make positive actions. So thank you. We're going to talk about examples of collaboration between communities and international scientists in the area. And my friend, who I found after 20 years, is Chung-Jo Ki from Korea, and he has a very interesting background. He's an ocean researcher, was a politician in the Korean government, was a mayor, and now he is also wrote a book on poetry. So a well-rounded individual who's going to talk about some of his experiences.
Thank you, Professor Springer. Good morning, everybody. Thank you for your sitting here, even last day. Thank you so much. Today's my talk is Marine Environmental Education for Korean Underwater Societies will be started in this spring, May, I think. May I introduce myself? I am 40 years scientific divers, actually marine ecologist. At the moment, I am columnist writer, former chairperson of Environmental Education Network Korea, also president of Korea Marine Protected Area Forum, actually Korea Protected Area Forum, including NPA, and Korea Ecotourism Society. Okay, I've written more than 20 books. This is one of them. The title is Marine Life of Korean Seas. This green one is I am first scientific diver in Korea, licensed by World Underwater Federation. This is this photo. I was 30 something, maybe around 40 years. Why environmental education for divers? As you know, divers divers who loves ocean the most, who are in the blind spot of marine environmental education. I think divers actively visit underwater often, even though they don't know what is marine environmental education. I think divers who are first to recognize changes in ocean and the crisis of the marine ecosystem. People who are not afraid of the sea, divers, and can take the lead in protecting the sea. And people who can most accurately publicize the situation of the sea. As you can see, the left shows Korean water surface temperature last August. Red one indicated more than 30 degrees. We never seen before. It was 2 centigrade higher than previous year. The photo above shows that at the same time, the surface temperature of the island, the most south located, the Jeju Island has a small island, the sub-island, was 30 degree in surface. The depth of 10 meter, 1280 degree. 20 meter, 27 degree. At the time I dived there. Lasting over more than 2 weeks. This situation stayed to more than 2 weeks. As a result, the bleaching of the introduced stony coral was also confirmed. The white one already bleached. That coral from the tropical ocean into the Korean ocean, Korean Sea. This is that species. Montifora mellifera is a tropical stony coral. Is not a typical reef building coral. The species invade in temperate water in Korea, covering algae bed. Now is a very serious situation. 2011, I participated in one joint workshop between Korea and Japan. I collected many photographs from underwater photograph. So that kind of photograph, I showed that that joint workshop. After that, I felt serious situation. So I have collected data and papers and serialized them in 15 issues in Hala newspaper in Jeju Island and 10 in Planet 03 internet last year. This is that. So left one is I written 15 times on local newspaper in Jeju Island. Right one is last year I give 10 issues on internet news. Why Jeju Sea is important? This is located most south of Korea. Jeju water where sea level and water temperature are rising significantly. Jeju Island were effort to respond to climate change are active but require strategic adjustment. Here is a refuge for tropical and subtropical marine life, marine element. Marine ecosystem in Jeju Sea are currently undergoing significantly changes due to, I think, climate change. Located on route of Kuroshio, do you know warm colored Kuroshio? Jeju Island located in the route of the Kuroshio warm current. Also path of typhoon. So the island area, special marine biogeographical area. Why Jeju Island important in underwater environment education? In Korea, Jeju Island is a mecca for diving, scuba diving and free diving. Korean divers have visited water, Jeju at least a few times. I think more than 10 times their life. In my case, I visited more than 400 times there. There are over 1 million trained divers, not active, sorry, trained divers, and they witness firsthand the challenging phenomena and changes in the ocean. Starting with Jeju Island, volunteer groups are beginning to emerge to learn about marine life and monitor the marine environment, discussing the need for environmental education and underwater ecotourism at various underwater activity held in Jeju at the moment. Starting this spring, we will actively engage in educational activity, but we should start at the level, learn about living creatures and recognize the risk of climate change first, rather than direct conservation education, and maintain loose networking. I show you two cases mainly. First case, some divers, older divers, I understand what climate change problem. So we are decided to make one team traveling against the northward moving Kuroshio current. Like this current is moving northward, bring tropical element. The current connected Indo-Pacific whirlpool, also coral triangle. So we traveled against the current. So 3 different islands in Japan and 1 area in Indonesia. So before that, I joined Korea and Japan joined to underwater work. The underwater research work, they research aim is how fast tropical coral distribute temperate area from 2001. Sorry, I involved that project 2009. 2 years ago, I visited Iki Island. I observed on surface and underwater the coral. Iki Island has most those coral present in Earth. Okay, second one is ordinary diverse and scientists like me. So it just conserve the fishes regularly and monitoring and the environment underwater. Okay, and they do many activities. What is next? Last presentation, last slide. Creating rules, regional sector-specific network. Raising diverse awareness of importance of marine environmental education. Creating various educational books and materials from our monitoring, our observation. Promote educational activities through social media, etc. 2. Disseminate activities and promotional material to other marine environmental education field. And collaborate, we hope, collaborate and share experience with the marine environment educators from other countries. Thank you for your attention. I hope our activities, our challenges make a wonder as you told. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we are going to hear about the construction of competency model of sustainability for marine industry practitioners by Ipmen.
Good morning, everyone. I'm very honored here to present a research finding. And actually, it is a new research about the competence of sustainability, especially in Taiwan. Because 2 years ago, the government have announced a new regulation about the Ocean Act. And we have already mentioned 16 industries in Taiwan which are related to the ocean. But what kind of competence we have in order to maintain or to keep the sustainability of the ocean? It's not only the questions of Western countries, but especially for Taiwan, because we are an island country. So now my topic is how can we construct and what is the result of the competency model? And we have 3 partners here. My major is human resource development. So we have every kind of industry to build their own competency model. But if I want to use some professional knowledge and skills, I need another 2 partners. And pages over there is associate researchers. And I have another partners who work in the National Government University of Science and Technology. And these topics I will introduce very short from introduction and my research purpose, and then go forward to literature review, methodology finding, and of course the conclusion and discussion. we know there are 70% of Earth is covered by ocean. And here is Taiwan. Taiwan is an island. And I know you come here because you want to know Taiwan well. And actually, the maritime policy become very crucial to Taiwan before, because we have some struggle with mainland China. So when I was child, we are prohibited to close to the ocean because maybe the enemy will come before like stories. But now we know that actually this is open environment. And since Taiwan is surrounded by the ocean, so the ocean should be part of our regular, ordinary life. And so Taiwan especially want to develop the industry of ocean. It become very crucial for us to redefine or to create a new model, not only for the economy, but the talent. And from the EU, because the lack of ocean literacy is a blue economy challenge. And Taiwan in 2019, we point out a Taiwan's Ocean Basic 8. And in the Taiwan Ocean Basic 8, it indicates that all the people in Taiwan should receive education, ocean education, and ocean training. You know, it's 2019, so it's not long ago. So recently, we try to develop the whole ocean framework, not only for the industry, but for the human resource development in Taiwan. And 2023, according to Taiwan's Marine Industry Development Regulation Act, in the first act, the first article, pronounced that we should promote sustainable development in the marine industry. So the research purpose is what the ocean leadership should have for the marine industry practitioners in Taiwan. We want to indicate what knowledge and what skill for marine industry practitioners should have to sustain the ocean. So this is our research purpose. And according to the literature review, we try to find some papers from ocean leadership and then to the sustainability. And what is ocean literacy? It is defined by UNESCO, and I think most of you know that. Yes, it's an understanding of the ocean's influence on you and your influence on the oceans. And there are also 7 principles of ocean literacy, like the ocean will change, will make the features of Earth, and the ocean will influence the climate and the weather. So what is an ocean literature person? This person should recognize ocean's value and communicate about the ocean. And the last part is make responsible decision. The responsible means that meeting the needs of the present without compromise the ability of future generations to meet their own need. So this is the sustainability. And according to the SDGs 14, life below water, I know most of the goals are not achieved yet in 2030. But we try to approach and to make good connection with the international standards. So we check the literature, the papers from SDGs 14 in some cases, and also RI20 and OECD EU. So after we review those literature, one fact is found. There are not any sustainability competency model for industry, for marine industry practitioners. No unique or complete competence model for the marine industry practitioners. So after we review those papers or those cases from the international standards and some papers, we go back to Taiwan. So because from 20 years ago or maybe 30 years ago, there are many experts have already taught the competence of sustainability or maybe the concepts of sustainability. So we use the IPO model. IPO model means input, process, and output. The input includes literature review and secondary data. The process, after we have built a draft, we invite 52 experts to verify our model of competence. So the output will be the competency model for marine industry practitioners. I will show you later. And the experts, because they have to represent a good quality to be our research experts. So we choose half from the academic area and half, 50% from the industry, and they have over 10 years of related experience of the ocean. And the data, of course, because it's a new model, so we use qualitative. And after that, we use Delphi and AHP. So that is our second step. I hope I could share my finding next year maybe. But last year, we have only finished our draft competency model, and we use the qualitative research from literature secondary. We make some concepts from our transcription, and then to choose some topic and make a framework, visualization, and at the last step, we establish our final model. And the triangulation enhance the validity because we collect some secondary data and literature to make a draft of competency model. And then we invite some experts. We create focus group. We interview. We make in-depth interview. We revalidate our model. And then we create our final. So the finding is that after our not only recycle, we repeat to validate our finding, and the result model is there are 3 dimensions of the competency model. The first is marine ecology and environmental system. We talk about the system first, and then some big or significant marine ecology and environment issues. And then it's about the political regulation, political compliance. So there are 3 dimensions of our competencies model. And each dimension includes 4 knowledge and 2 skills. This is from Ray Yan. Ray Yan suggests us to put it in an equal way. So 4 knowledge and 2 skills for each dimension. And because we invite 52 experts, every expert is talent in their significant area. So everyone suggests some issues for our topic. The topic means the content of our later competence-based curriculum if we want to develop. So this is our model. So the conclusion is that three-dimensional sustainability competence model have been built. And this model is based on literature and secondary first. And then we ask the experts to verify our model. So it is applicable to marine education and training. So we believe that our model is useful for if we want to develop the competence-based curriculum. So it is focused not only like the ocean, this is important, that skills are important, we should verify. At least this is our consensus. So we have 4 knowledge and 2 skills for each dimension, and we have 3 dimensions. And because we collect some international standards and some textbooks very famous in Taiwan, so it's aligned with the standards. But because every sector maybe emphasize and different issues in different knowledge. So I think in our future research, we could do more effort to maybe divide those knowledge skills by different sectors. So this is our discussion. And I appreciate this is sponsored by NAMR from Rayan and from Annie Chen. So this is my honor as a human resource development. I cannot say I'm expert, but I'm a talent. So I am very glad to have the cooperation with those professionals and very start industry. Thank you.
Very important. We often forget we need to include the marine industries. Important part, sustainability. Our next speaker will be Yen-Ling Lin, who is going to be talking about effectiveness and challenges of integrating marine education into school curricula in Taiwan from the perspective of teacher empowerment training.
That was a very excellent presentation that we've got about the model competency structure. This is a suggestion for the competency. Yeah. Formula of competency is based on my readings. It's knowledge, it's skills, and attitude. I like the formula, the suggestion of it to include skills, and then with in addition to knowledge, probably you can include also attitude. Yeah. And if you want, for proficiency, the formula there is competency plus experience, or probably for further study. And I'm very much interested to partner with you once for that of the Philippines. Now with Taiwan. Yes. Thank you very much.
A short feedback? I can give a short feedback.
Yes, short feedback.
According to Spencer model, the competency is divided into 2 parts. One is explicit, another is implicit. And attitude is in implicit. And because we want to talk about training, the attitude cannot be trained in a short time. So we always put our goal that are related to knowledge and skill, which could be trained in a short time. And attitude maybe connect with some personality and childhood. It's a lot. That is important. I agree with you. But according to development and training, we always focus on the knowledge and skill that could be very short. And we hope we could have much more connection. Okay, after this conference. Thank you.
Oh, thank you very much. I understand. So that's the scope and limitation of this. Thank you. Thank you very much. Very well.
Thank you.
I believe we'll have a video.
Good morning to the section chairs and all participants. Attention this oral presentation. I'm Yanling Lin, a research fellow at the Taiwan Marine Education Center, National Taiwan Ocean University. I agree that I'm not able to attend this present in person due to a schedule conflict. I am, however, grateful to the conference organization for the offer the opportunity to present through the pre-recorded video. In addition, I have invited my colleagues Jia Yu Guo and Wei Ren Zhang, who had collaboration with me over the past 3 years in this planning and design of the teacher empowerment training workshop to attend this section and engage in learning through the feedback and suggestion provided. Today, I'm going to introduce research with you. My topic is Effects and the Challenge of Integrated Marine Education into School Curriculum in Taiwan from the perspective of teacher empowerment training. As the educational environment continues to evolve, teacher professional development has become a key factor enhanced to the quality of education. As lifelong learners, teachers must constantly update their professional knowledge and skill to meet the dynamic of the computational teachings. So, the follows is the outline of today's presentation. The ocean is very important for natural and human life. It helps control the climate, provide food and resource, and support many kinds of life. To use the ocean in several ways, we need to understand its value and support international laws, like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. These laws help manage the ocean resource, stop overuse and pollution, and encourage countries to work together. Because the ocean faces problems like plastic pollution, overfishing, and climate change, we need to stronger action. This includes use the science-based data and recreate educational programs and plan to protect the ocean and use it wisely.
Marine education in Taiwan started growing in the late 1900s as people became more concerned about the ocean and the environment. In 2001, the government shared its vision in the Ocean White Paper. Later, in 2006, a detailed ocean policy paper was released, covering ocean rights, safety, environment, industry, culture, and research. In 2007, marine education was officially added to the national school curriculum. To support this, the Ocean Basic Act was passed in 2019, and the first national ocean policy white paper under this law came out in 2020. It focused on ocean protection, public awareness, marine culture, sustainability, industry growth, and international cooperation. In short, marine education has become a key part of national education with strong government policies. The past Taiwan school strong focus on land topics and less attention to the ocean. Before 2000, marine education mostly appeared in science textbooks and was based on academic knowledge. Things began to change with the Grade 1-9 curriculum reform in 2001. Marine education shifted toward building general marine literacy, with themes like being close to the sea, loving the sea, and understanding the sea. Later, the 12-year basic education policy in 2014 continued this direction. It encouraged student-centered teaching and using real-life relevant materials. Marine topics were to be meaningfully included in the school curriculum. These changes show that marine education in Taiwan has moved away from exam-focused content. It now aims to build practical, life-oriented ocean literacy for students. From the perspective of marine knowledge, the disciplines encompassed by marine topics are extensive and highly specialized. According to a content analysis of marine concepts in Taiwanese elementary and junior high school textbooks, marine concepts in the editions compiled by the Ministry of Education prior to 2000 accounted for only 2.86% of affective learning content at the elementary school level and only 4.228% of scientific knowledge content at the junior high school level. Following 2 rounds of curriculum reform, the elementary school textbooks adopted under the one outline, multiple versions policy moved beyond the disciplinary boundary of natural sciences. Marine education content has since been incorporated into subjects such as Mandarin, social studies, and health and physical education. The proportion of marine knowledge included in each of these domains has exceeded 10%, with content related to marine science and technology reaching as high as 40%. Although the Taiwanese government has put a lot of effort into promoting marine education, there are still many challenges in making it work well in schools. Luo, 2013, pointed out that many in-service teachers don't have enough basic knowledge or teaching skills related to marine education. This makes it hard for them to carry out policies effectively or reach the goals set by those policies. Other researchers like Su, Chan, and Wu also noted that teachers often miss out on marine-related training, both before and during their careers. Many teachers lack teaching materials and proper training, often due to environmental limits or personal background. As a result, marine topics are usually taught as separate lessons or one-time activities, rather than being
Speaker while we try to fix this technology. That's why when I was in Haiti, we had no problem with technology because we had no electricity. We did everything the old way, chalkboards. So our next speaker, we'll do the next speaker and try to fix it. Sorry for the inconvenience. Our next speaker will be Michael Mark. Is he here?
It's online. Yeah.
Oh, online. Well, we'll try again. We'll see what happens. It'll be marine education programs presented by tour boat operators in Hawaii and the impact they have on advancing the general ocean knowledge. Let's see what happens.
Is Michael Markrich, and I'm an economist here in the state of Hawaii, and I'd like to thank the International Pacific Marine Educators Network for inviting me here to give a little presentation about marine education and the tour boat industry. I have been surveying the Hawaii tour boat industry since the mid-'80s, and over that time, I learned that marine education is more than, or as part of it, as it reflects on tour boats, is more than entertainment. It's an integral part of the tourism experience in Hawaii. And when we look at how the market for tour boats has changed, we see that this is just not as it was on television, people being taken around on boats and music being played to them. People really want to know about what's happening in the ocean around them. The tour boats, when I started, were primarily dinner cruise based. And that is, people have this passive experience. They would just go out and have dinner, or they would listen to music, and that was their experience in the ocean. But more and more, it became people who came to Hawaii wanted to have an in-depth ocean experience. They wanted to go out and see things they could never do on their own from wherever they came from, and this was their dream. And among those people who worked hard to fulfill that dream was Captain James Kuhn, who started Trilogy Excursions on Maui. And what Captain Kuhn did from the very beginning was take a very proactive stance on marine education. And this is why I asked him to accompany me to this lecture. And to me, tour boats link marine science education to the general public. They're kind of that last mile. You know, people get maybe some science from television or in school, but maybe they don't know that much about biology. But when they come to Hawaii and they see this beautiful ocean, they want to know more about it. And the tour boats actually fulfill that need. I'm also asking you to welcome Denver Kuhn, who is president of the Ocean Tourism Coalition. And Denver, in addition to being the next generation of owners of Trilogy Excursions, is integrally involved in the integration of all the tour boat companies into this marine education effort. And I will then pass on the microphone to them.
Aloha. Thank you, Mike, for this opportunity to address this very important International Educators Conference. I'm here with my nephew, and I'd like to just tell you a little bit about the journey that we've been on in protecting and preserving our marine environment.
Yeah, and aloha, everyone. My name is Denver Kuhn. Like Jim said, I'm his nephew. I am one of the next generation of owners of Trilogy Excursions, a company that my father and uncle Jim here started back in 1973. He can obviously tell you a little bit more about that story.
Well, our father was in the charter boat business in Alaska. And so we spent our formative years on boats in the charter business. I actually started commercial fishing as an 11-year-old kid and even put my way through college as a commercial fisherman, taking a degree in biology. We then built a sailboat together, my dad and brother and I. And after 2 years of building, we were able to do a 2-year world cruise going North, Central, South America, Galapagos, South Pacific, finally up to Hawaii. And we started our charter business on Maui in 1973. Early on, we wanted to provide a wonderful experience on the water, in the water, with a non-consumptive business model where we could share what was beautiful, what we enjoyed about these pristine areas in a way that would inspire people to protect other areas and appreciate what we had for them here.
And so early on, they realized, that steps were going to be taken to protect these beautiful ocean marine resources. One of the first things that they did and the industry did was the installation of day-use moorings and making sure that people weren't using their anchor to anchor up in these beautiful places. They were using the moorings to protect the reef, along with doing things like reef cleanups. Our company, we started a program called the Blue Ina program about 15 years ago, and we donate a boat every month to take groups out to go clean up different snorkel sites around the island. And that's a great opportunity to not only clean up those sites, make sure that they're pristine, but that day is really spent educating those guests on these areas.
Another thing we did is supported various marine life conservation districts around the state that would provide a sanctuary for the marine life in that particular area, as well as supporting the humpback whale marine sanctuary in Hawaii. The whale population in the mid-1970s was critically depleted, and I had the incredible opportunity to chair our governor's first attempt to forming a whale sanctuary, and eventually was the first chair for the first decade for the Sanctuary Advisory Council. And we have seen a wonderful resurgence of whale population where the populations have been restored to probably very close to pre-whaling numbers. It is probably one of the most significant environmental success stories of our generation.
Yeah, and along with that, the education that we give to guests with whether it's whales, as Jim talked about, dolphins, Hawaiian monk seals, different marine life, turtles, honus out here. A lot of what we do is also education when it comes to safety, particularly snorkeling. Many of our guests, when they come out with us, it's actually their first time out in a place like Hawaii, their first time snorkeling. And so we spend a lot of time going through proper snorkeling protocol to make sure that not only are they safe when they snorkel, but they also know how to interact with the marine environment, not to touch coral, make sure to use a reef safe sunscreen, and make sure that when they leave our supervision and maybe go off from the beaches or nearshore waters, that they remain, both responsible in how they snorkel and again, how they interact with the marine environment.
One of the very important aspects of educating our traveling guests is the incorporating our very rich Hawaiian culture into the experience, the snorkel experience, the place names, the protocols, the rich history that the Hawaiian people have in being responsible stewards of their environment. So to experience this without a cultural overlay would just be doing a disservice. And I think this would be applicable. Many of you come from various regions in the Pacific, And I think it's so important to incorporate your local cultural knowledge into your educational process.
For most operators, at least an hour, let's say it's a 5 to 6 hour snorkel trip, I'd say at least an hour of every day is spent specifically on safety and education.
The world we're living in now with climate change, with the speed at which all of these things are happening, I think it's really significant. In our company specifically, we want to share the joy of capturing the wind to actually sail our boats, to power our vessels where our engines with biodiesel. We're doing everything we can to foster a concept of stewardship and responsible living, moving towards a zero net carbon footprint if we can.
Yeah, and the Ocean Tourism Coalition, that is an industry group that was started in 1982, and we represent, Hawaii's marine tourism tour boat operators. Virtually all of them are locally family-owned businesses. We work together. We try to promote.
Also, we, an industry, and specifically as our company, we've also been very important in responding to natural disasters. The latest one here we had in Hawaii was our terrible Lahaina fire of 2023.
Yeah, and that was, obviously devastating in so many ways. It was, we felt grateful that we had the ability, my cousin and I, Jim's son, Riley and I, we went out actually that night with the Coast Guard. We took one of our boats out to Lahaina to do search and rescue, to find people that needed to be rescued from the fires off of Lahaina. And we felt, very fortunate that we could provide that type of service to the community. And also for the days and weeks following, we were running supplies from one side of the island to the other, making sure that our family, our friends, and our community, were getting all the supplies they needed.
And our team received the highest honor that America gives. They were actually awarded the Congressional Medal of Honor for the work that they did that evening. Just so proud of them.
I'm part of the next generation of owners. I have, 2 sisters, and I also have 3 cousins, and 5 of the 6 of us are working in the family business now. And we were raised in an environment where we knew of all the threats to the environment, climate change, pollution, and we wanted to make sure that our guests and their presence in that environment, had as minimal an impact on the reef and the marine environment as we could ensure.
And it is just really gratifying to see this next generation that has spent their whole life understanding some of the challenges that our planet is facing. And as I see the different innovations that they're coming up with to create a better environment, a better world, it's very gratifying. It fills me with hope.
Yeah, and a lot of that, we try to do by working with our local state agencies like the Department of Land and Natural Resources, Division of Aquatic Resources, to make sure that the regulations that are put in place do, directly benefit those marine environments. We worked with the state a few years ago to establish the ocean stewardship fee. And so a dollar from every passenger that comes out with us goes directly towards doing research and studies on the marine environment, along with funding a day-use mooring system to make sure that boats are using moorings, not anchoring, and minimizing their impact on those local reefs.
And this is actually giving funding. It's millions of dollars every year, because every person on every commercial boat in Hawaii, this fee is assessed. So it's a new funding resource. It's a new direction, sort of a environmental use fee, if you will. But we believe it's going to really make a profound difference in in how these resources are managed.
And with that, Mike, we'll give it back to you.
Tour boats share ocean space with other local ocean users in Hawaii, but access only a small % of Hawaii's reef area. The challenge is how to balance the growth of the industry with conserving the ocean environment. Tour boats and captains have a vested interest in making certain that nearshore waters and reefs are protected. And marine education is crucial to our tourism industry because if we don't protect our pristine marine environment, we won't be able to encourage the next generation of tourists to come to Hawaii. And this is what gives us our special value. I want to thank the Marine Educators Network for inviting us to come and give this presentation. I think, as I said at the beginning, marine tourism and marine education go hand in hand, and marine education is actually the last mile of delivering information on marine education to visitors. They come and which they can then send to their friends and their families through social media all over the world. And it's one small way we can all work together to protect the ocean. Thank you. If you're interested in more information about marine tourism in Hawaii, please contact me at mlmarkrich@gmail.com or Denver Kuhn at denver.kuhn@sailtrilogy.com. Mahalo.
Gentlemen, since some difficulties about the technology, so now we have already solved the problem, and then now we'll use another way to amplify the audio and start our presentation again. Okay.
Good morning to the section chairs and all participants, especially for at the NNA, research fellows at Taiwan Education Center, Digital Taiwan for Ocean University. I believe that I'm now able to attend today's presentation. However, like all the papers or materials for the opportunity to participate for the video. In addition, I have invited my colleagues John Paul and Layla Zhang, who have collaboration with me over the past 3 years in this planning and design of the to attend this session and engage in learning through the feedback and suggestion provided. Today, I'm going to introduce research to you. My topic is the best challenge of integrated marine education into school curriculum in Taiwan from the 3 decades of teacher empowerment training. As the educational environment continues to evolve, teacher professional development has become a key factor enhanced to the quality of education. As lifelong learners, teachers must constantly update their professional knowledge and skill to meet the dynamic of the combinational teachings. So, the follows is the outline of today's presentation. The ocean is very important for natural and human life. It helps control the climate, provide food and resource, and support many kinds of life. To use the ocean is several ways. We need to understand its value and support international laws, like the United Nations Convention on the Law of the Sea. These laws help manage the ocean resource, stop overusing and pollution, and encourage countries to work together. Because the ocean faces problems like plastic pollution, overfishing, and climate change, we need to stronger action. This includes use the science-based data and recreate educational programs and plan to protect the ocean and use it wisely. Marine education in Taiwan started growing in the late 1900s as people became more concerned about the ocean and the environment. In 2001, the government shared its vision in the Ocean White Paper. Later, in 2006, the detailed ocean policy paper was released, covering ocean rights, safety, environment, industry, culture, and research. In 2007, marine education was officially added to the national school curriculum. To support student-centered teaching, and using real-life relevant materials. Marine topics were to be meaningfully included in the school curriculum. These changes show that marine education in Taiwan has moved away from exam-focused content. It now aims to build practical, life-oriented ocean literacy for students. From the perspective of marine knowledge, the disciplines encompassed by marine topics are extensive and highly specialized. According to a content analysis of marine concepts in Taiwanese elementary and junior high school textbooks, marine concepts and conditions compiled by the Ministry of Education prior to 2000 accounted for only 2.86% of affective learning content at the elementary school level and only 4.228% of scientific knowledge content at the junior high school level. Following 2 rounds of curriculum reform, the elementary school textbooks adopted under the one outline multiple versions policy moved beyond the disciplinary boundary of natural sciences. Marine education content has since been incorporated into subjects such as Mandarin, social studies, and health and physical education. The proportion of marine knowledge included in each of these domains has exceeded 10%, with content related to marine science and technology reaching as high as 40%. Although the Taiwanese government has put a lot of effort into promoting marine education, there are still many challenges in making it work well in schools. Newell, 2013, pointed out that many in-service teachers don't have enough basic knowledge or teaching skills related to marine education. This is hard for them to carry out policies or reach the goals set by those policies. Other researchers like Sue, Chen, and Wu also noted that teachers often miss out on marine-related training both before and during their careers. Many teachers lack teaching materials and proper training, often due to environmental limits or personal background. As a result, marine topics are usually taught as separate lessons or one-time activities, rather than being fully integrated into the curriculum. This leads to scattered learning for students and weakens the impact of marine education. The main problem is clear. Teachers often don't feel confident teaching marine topics because they lack the knowledge. In 2015, UNESCO highlighted practical strategies to improve teacher professionalism, such as focusing on student learning, transforming curricula, developing key skills, fostering positive attitudes, and encouraging innovative practices. In 2020, Taiwan's Ministry of Education introduced the Teacher Professional Competence Standard, which emphasized knowledge development, skill, and reflective practice. This framework aims to equip teachers with the necessary knowledge and abilities for effective teaching, promotes the use of effective teaching strategies, and encourages ongoing improvement, result reflection, and professional learning communities. Therefore, teacher growth depends on effective professional development activities like in-service training, coursework, seminars, workshops, informal group learning, and online communities. These opportunities enhance teaching and support meaningful student learning, which is the focus of this study.
Based on the background and the literature reviews, it is evident that the teacher played a crucial role in the promote of the marine education. This study aims to explore how teachers' knowledge, attitudes, and skill in marine education change through the enhanced training. The research questions of this study are as follows. This study involved the certified trainees who joined one of 7 training programs held by the Taiwan Marine Educational Center between 2021 and 2023. After the training, we sent out a following-up certified of this group. To get satisfied, participants had to finish the enterprise training and submit a 1 lessons plan they either create or the testing in class. This step helped us to make sure the study stayed focused on how well marine education topic can be adapted to regret school lessons, and what change come with that. We had out 103 surveys in totally and to get back 83 environment response.
The research used a questionnaire based on 2 main sources: STEM survey on how teachers carry out media literacy education, and I-survey on their training needs for food and farming education. Experts reviewed the questionnaire, making changes such as rearranging, adding, or removing items, followed by a pilot test. The final version had 31 questions on a 4-point Likert scale, 15 about teaching methods, 14 about time and space, and 2 open-ended questions about teachers' coping experiences. with then 6 background variables. In terms of the gender, female participants outnumbers male participants. Regard educational attention, the major held a master's degree hold passions of 70% of the participants. As for teacher training background, most participants regard from the general university, followed by those from the teaching education institutes. In terms of the teaching rules, subject teachers represent the logical group, followed by the homeroom teachers. In terms of years of service, most participants had 16 to 20 years of experience. As for the teaching level, the majority was from the elementary schools, followed by the junior high schools. Finally, after complete the empowerment trainings, 80% of participants had actually equipped the marine education into their classroom teaching. Regarding implementation of instructional needs, marine resources and sustainability was the most frequently addressed topic, followed by marine culture, while marine society was the least emphasized. Regarding the time of instruction, the most common adopted approach involved integrating marine content into existing subject area curricula, followed by single session courses. The third option entailed incorporating marine education into club activities or extracurricular programs. In terms of instructional approaches, the most common used method was the integrated approach, which allowed marine education to be extended and connected within the framework of existing curricula. The second most common was the theme-based approach, in which teachers used self-developed teaching materials and align lessons with relevant festivals or competitions. This method typically involves short-term modular instruction, integrated into the instructional time of related subject areas. The third approach was specialized courses, which are based on school-specific curricula designed to reflect local characteristics and contexts. The primary challenges faced by schools in implementing marine education were first, the difficulty of scheduling due to pre-existing curricular timetables. The second major challenge was the lack of funding, equipment, and collaborative teaching partners, which made it difficult to plan, design, and deliver marine education courses and activities. The primary instructional tools in marine education were marine resources and sustainability, and marine culture, with an emphasis on resource conservation and cultural influence. Regarding instructional timing, the most common practice was to integrate marine education into other subject areas to enhance students' interest and sense of identification with the content. Some schools also adopted one-off lessons or implemented marine education during extracurricular Hopefully, this study will help us better understand how to design future training programs that mixing the marine knowledge with the teaching skill in a meaningful way. This idea to help the teachers apply that they learn in real classroom and grow professionally, while also help the student connect more with the marine issues in their daily life. Thank you for your time and attention.
Thank you. Again, when you work in education communities, you use the F word a lot, flexible. So what we will do now is we will have the breaks, and then we will come back at 11 o'clock, and we will have a question and answer for remaining speakers. You'll still be here? Then here we'll join the last group, okay? Okay.
Yeah, Michael, I told Michael that 11:40 join the meeting. Yeah.
So will there be? Is there a question maybe for Michael from in Denver for the two online? Maybe we could do that now. Are there any questions for the two of them? Okay, here.
I just wanted to say that I was actually the first U.S. Coast Guard charter boat captain for a trilogy on the island of Lanai, and ran 2 of the boats for a trilogy. And then I was a reporter and editor for Hawaii Fishing News and worked with Jim Kuhn a lot on a lot of the projects, protecting whales and different things. So I can just attest to trilogy's dedication to conservation and to education. And it's so good to see them now expanding beyond the state of Hawaii into the international arena. So welcome, Jim and Denver.
Yeah, and we actually today more flexible because in the afternoon, 2 o'clock we have session. So 12 to 2 we don't have event, so we can postpone until 12, 20, 30 is okay. And 2 to 3 we have 1 keynote speech, so it's okay. So we can discuss this section now. Yeah, postpone.
So a question? Any question for Michael in the tourism?
Maybe
Very
John, you
important.
can come to discussion. Yeah.
Any question for Michael? Marine tourism, very important. I'm glad to see they're embracing marine conservation.
Hello, good morning. My name is Carlos. I'm a marine educator in Hong Kong, and I worked previously also in a diving center in Spain. So my question is about how we can make ecotourism more sustainable, because of course we have more boats out of the sea, right? And that also have an effect on marine life. So I'm wondering if this family business has been running for many years, but is there any other competence that you have that want to settle the business, or are there regulations that allow certain amount of boats that can be doing ecotourism? Thank you.
All right. Maybe I can try to answer that question. Let me know if you guys are getting the feedback. If not, is that good? Cool. Sorry, Mike. I'll take it. I'll take it from here. Yeah, I think the question was, I believe it was there an ideal number for tour boat operators? Obviously, a lot of that depends on the area. For the last 40 years, we've gone from no industry, right, to a rather large industry, and we're trying to figure that out as we go. Those are things that we do as operators. Resources are limited, so we try to meet with the state, try to get ahead of those issues. Set up permitting schemes where it will limit the number of boats per area, and it's really up to us to, along with researchers, do carrying capacity studies to see what each resource can handle before we see any kind of detrimental effects. So there's no area, there's no perfect number. It just takes a lot of work between the operators and the state agencies to find that balance.
Let's see if there's any more questions for him. Any more? One more? Let's try one more.
And Mike, sorry, I think you're on mute still, so we can't hear you.
Okay, thank you, Michael. Thank you. And you were, I think it's very important about marine tourism. I ever work in marine tourism.
Not sure if there are any other questions, but happy to answer any questions you guys might have.
Now it's on, right?
Yeah.
Okay, marine tourism actually it's very important to the kids and or the citizens. They can experience like Dr. Jones and as a diver and cooperate with the scientists. So scientists and to do cooperate with the diver because many divers they actually is for their interest and they don't have too many background of the science or the biologies and that's and we try to cooperate because the background is totally different and not every biologist would actually take so much time in diving and but the divers and they take many times and to go out diving almost every day and whole the season. This is their patient age. So my question is how to cooperate with the scientists and to cooperate with the divers and increase the citizen. They have more professional knowledges or the marine science knowledge through the experiment of doing the marine tourism.
Yeah, so what we try to do is kind of like you said, we have a lot of crew members, we have divers, we have captains. They're all passionate about the ocean. They go to these dive sites, snorkel sites on a daily basis. They care for them. And what we try to do, because they want to be experts of those areas, and like you said, they don't have those backgrounds. So what we try to do as a company, and I know lots of operators that do this, is we bring in marine biologists and scientists to come give talks to our crew. Sometimes we'll come out on the boats or we'll have them come to the office and we'll have events where we'll have researchers, scientists actually give, all their latest updates and studies for different areas. So that way our guys who, again, like you said, they have passion for the area, but maybe don't have that background, at least are given the education, right? And then they share that with the passengers. So we find, if we can give our employees that information, they share it with the guests, and then the guests share it with their network. So it can be a very powerful partnership.
I'd like to add something. When I started doing surveys of the marine tourism in Hawaii 30 years ago, it was primarily dinner cruises. People came and they wanted to just sit and watch the sun go down and have a dinner and listen to music. But the market has changed, and more people want this near-shore marine interactive experience that they find very exciting. And so now there are more visitors actually taking these interactive tours, and the tour companies are responding to this interest. And I think Denver can probably tell you that a lot of people who come on these boats, they have a lot of questions. Maybe they didn't get this when they were in school, and maybe they weren't, as the last speaker said, that there's a difficulty in interesting students in marine education. But by the time they take these tours, they watched things on television, they know about ocean issues a lot, and they want to ask the people who are giving these tours, who are there every day, they want to ask them a lot of detailed questions about corals and fish and things like that, and that adds to their enjoyment. Would you say that's right, Denver?
Yeah, absolutely. Obviously, learning something in the classroom and then, seeing something, hands-on, real world, you're always, that experience is, when you're right there, it does pique all this curiosity and all this interest. And now that you're right next to those corals, the fish and everything, you want to know more about it. So yeah, absolutely. And then, that's definitely, like Mike said, has been a big change from our industry back in the day, to nowadays. People really do expect the full experience, and a lot of that is the education part.
And I think that it's really important for educators to help make this link. I think that a lot of people in the industry are really motivated to learn, but there's been a kind of always a distinction between the very formal pedagogical nature, hierarchical nature of teaching, and the kind of informal information giving in the tourist industry. And so how do you link those two? I think in a lot of ways they do this already when tour guides teach things about history or historical sites, and they give bus tours, and they have to learn basic things about whatever culture they're talking about to visitors. But I think when we talk about ocean tourism, we take this to a different level. We have to think what can we do to help people who are in this industry learn more technical things about the ocean, and what can we do to motivate marine educators to reach out to people in the industry? And then I think there's one more very important thing. You just have to think that Hawaii gets nearly 9 to 10 million visitors every year, and at least 2.5 million of them are taking some kind of educational tour. And then they're going on their interactive phones and their social media, and they're describing their experiences to their friends and relatives all over the world. So this is a tremendous opportunity to teach people and reach people about the ocean that really doesn't exist anywhere else.
Well, I don't know if you can hear me, but we want to thank you for your presentations. And it takes a community to fix the problem. So you can see we sort of fixed it. So I think we will end this session and we will come back at 11:15. Okay? Thank you so much. Thank you so much.
Yeah, thank you all for having us.
Quick announcement. Oh, sorry. That's because today we will have a 2 hours break times, and I hope you can enjoy interaction. Just final day, and we have some booths there. And if you are not signed the petition, and remember to sign it, and I hope you can take more pictures, and please hashtag Ipmen 2025 2025. So I hope that more people can know that. And this afternoon, the minister and many important policymakers will be here. And 3:30, we will have issue our Takao declaration to the local policymaker. So for us, it's very important to come through all this conference. So I hope everyone be here, and that we will keep it flexible. 12, I think this session can until 12:30, and 2 o'clock we will have Harry and Kitty's keynote speech, and then we will have 30 minutes break and start our Takao declaration. And if you still not that you will get your certificate of attendance, please go to registration desk. If you do not take your t-shirt, if you buy it, or if you are for registration and your badge, please go to the desk. So have time and good time. Bye.
1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Okay, we will get started so we can kind of be on schedule. And we will continue our discussions. We will be talking about exemplary programs that link local ocean community knowledge to ocean literacy. And our next speaker is Zhu Chen.
Yes.
And she'll be talking about gender mainstreaming in ocean literacy, participation in the known as Ocean Big Data Contest.
Hello everyone. I'm Sua Chen. I'm very happy to share the project on gender mainstreaming in ocean literacy. Participation in the NODA's Ocean Big Data Contest. The National Ocean Database and Sharing System, we call NODAS. It started in 2022. It has many ocean data sets. To help more people use the data, we host the Big Data Contest for high school and university students. In 2021, the United Nations launched the Ocean Decade with the slogan, "The science we need for the ocean we want." So the National Academy of Marine Research has been dedicated to achieving. So we launched the education we need for the ocean we want. So we're working to bridge ocean science and the public. On the study, we use the general lens to see the program. In Taiwan, the gender equality guidelines were published in 2011. Gender equality means equal rights for all. In this study, we want to explore who joined the contest and how they feel. For putting gender mainstreaming into parties is gender impact assessment. We use both numbers and open-ended survey answers. We also look at the gender ratio in each group and use simple statistics. We want to see the gender and response the occasions. So now we show the contest information. It's the data access to use the ocean data to solving the ocean problem through machine learning use NODAS. Its schedule. You can see the long-term contest with several stages. We had a preliminary and had a workshop and the second round, and last we had the finals. Final report is oral. We made a workshop. We hold a workshop in the summer. Students learn how to use Python for data analysis, and they also had a chance to talk with scientists about ocean issues. That is the final high school teams, the teen school and the title. And this is university teams. And you can see the title, the topic about include the ocean biology, academy, and physicals. So now we calculation the participants data. So we use descriptive statistics and open-ended response for a survey. Please note the analysis is based only on the students who reach in the final round. So in the 2023, the high school participants, you can see almost in the North Taiwan. And in the next year, you can see have the two more big cities, North and South. And 2024 have the colleges. The colleges is almost reflect the location of marine related departments like 台大、海大、成大、中山 like this school. And let's look at the gender and regional distribution. Across most countries and cities, the number of film participants was higher than the males. Among university students, the gender ratio was more balanced. Yeah. The blue is males for more than females, and the pink is the females more than males, and the black is the balance. You can see that. And we also look at the gender of teachers, the high school teachers. Among high school teachers who surveyed as teen more to be the mentors, there were more male teachers than female teachers. According to the Ministry of Education's Gender Studies report, the higher the level of education, the wider the gender gap tends to be. This may reflect deeper social and cultural meanings attached to gender roles, especially its academic and leadership positions. And we also use the open-end responses. So we ask participants who they adverse regarding gender. Most say they did not notice a cyber face. However, some did observe patterns such as more girls the high school level and more boys in university teams. And we also ask students and teachers what change or learning outcomes they get from the contents. They say they learn data skills, teamwork, and have clear goals for the future. Some say they decide to change their study plan after the contest. Finally, this is just the beginning. We only use data from finalists. In the future, we hope to study all teams. With more data, we can see the trends and help more. So I have the short movie. Okay, thank you everyone. And this year, the third NODA's Big Data Ocean Big Data Contest is coming. So join us. Thank you.
Competitions are so important because you learn competition, you learn, but you also learn to work together. I wish I could come back for the third one. We'll see what happens. Next, we have Wan Yin Liu, who's going to talk about comparing the U.S. OSS curriculum and Taiwan's marine education, a pathway to strengthening localized ocean literacy.
Hello everyone, I'm Liu Guanyin, and Assistant Research Fellow at the Taiwan Marine Education Center. Thank you for joining my presentation today. Here's a quick look at what I will talk about today. From the background and then project objective, comparing the K-12 Ocean Literacy Framework, OSS, and the Taiwan Curriculum Guideline, and 5 tangible outcomes and some conclusion. So let's begin with the background. This research project was commissioned by the Ocean Affairs Council last year and carried out by the National Taiwan Ocean University. It serves as a pilot study to support the nationwide promotion of OSS within the formal education system starting this year. To bring new teach material like OSS into the Taiwan formal education, we need to understand the system more deeply. That's why this study also includes some analysis of how well OSS fits Taiwan curriculum. This year, a new promotion system was set up. At the center is the Taiwan Marine Education Center. We work closely with 4 regional collaboration centers in the north, central, south, and the east of Taiwan. Also, we connect with the outdoor and the marine education center in the 22 counties and the cities. Together, we are trying to bring ocean science into more classrooms across the country. Oh, sorry, I forgot to change the slide. So this is the background, and then I already report over. Okay, so the next is project objective. Our project has a few main goals. First, we want to compare the OSS with Taiwan's current marine education guidelines. We want to see what's similar and what's different. Second, we want to help teachers bring OSS into their classroom. This means finding the best time to add OSS to existing class and providing clear, simple learning goals to make sure OSS fits Taiwan's formal education system. We also interviewed many teachers. We asked them about real classroom needs, possible challenges, and the ways to teach OSS more efficiently. Finally, we collected all these methods and the expert advice to support teachers who want to use OSS in their class. And now, let's explain how we approach this study. We used 3 main methods. First, we compare OSS to Taiwan's existing marine education guideline and the textbook to see the similarities and the difference. Next, we interviewed teachers already use OSS and to learn from their experience. Finally, we held a focus group discussion with teachers and the experts to gather diverse insight. These 3 steps help us see how OSS fit in Taiwan's education system, and how we can improve and promote in the future. So let's talk about how we compare these 3 frameworks. The OSS framework includes key concept and the important concept, and which we treated as its main learning objective. So we match this objective to Taiwan curriculum learning contents and the student performance indicators to make the structure clearer. We also include the corresponding K-12 ocean literacy concept in our comparison table. I will show you the example of later. Okay, this is the 5 tangible outcomes. I will show these 5 outcomes. First, comparison table. And the second, concept mapping a tree diagram. And the third, 3 is the table of the concept of correspondence count. And 4, suggest OSS unit. And the last one is OSS content not currently addressed in the Taiwan curriculum. We list all 6 OSS units in order, starting from the grades 3 to 5, like 1.1, 1.2, and 1.3, and then moving on to all the units of the grade 6 to 8. On the left, you will see each OSS unit with this key concept and the scientific literacy element. And on the right side, we saw how each OSS concept lined up with Taiwan's curriculum guidelines and the student performance indicators. In the middle, we match them to the K-12 ocean literacy concept. By lining them up this way, it's more clear how OSS connects to both the K-12 framework or the Taiwan's curriculum. So based on that table, we're building on our first outcome, the comparison table. We wanted to make it even clearer. So we follow the K-12 ocean literacy flow chart style and then add the corresponding OSS unit and the concept along with the Taiwan's marine education guidelines. Altogether, we created 28 concept maps, each one showing how this idea line up in the visual-friendly way. The table it has with the blue background is the concept of the K-12 ocean literacy framework, and the table with the yellow background is the concept of OSS, and the red one is the content in the Taiwan curriculum guidelines. So this is the table concept correspondence count. On the left, you will see you can see the total number of the concept in the one OSS unit, broken down into the key concept and the scientific literacy. On the right, you see how many those OSS concepts are mapped to the Taiwan curriculum guidelines, separated by learning content and the scientific literacy at a different score level. This table makes it easy to see how much of each OSS unit line up with the Taiwan's curriculum and help us suppose any gaps or overlaps. This table shows our analysis of the science textbooks from 3 major publishers in Taiwan. We list all the OSS units recommended, which grades and the textbook chapters they could fit into, and highlighted how the concept align. By laying everything out this way, teacher can easier see which OSS unit goes with the textbook chapter and what concept match up. This makes it straightforward to integrate ocean science into regular classroom lesson. Okay, our fifth outcome is the table showing which OSS concepts are missing in Taiwan curriculum. But due to the time, I will just go straight to the key finding. Taiwan's curriculum covers over 90% of the OSS concept, but 3 important themes still need more attention. The first is introduction to the ocean exploration and the surveillance methods. And the 2 is how technology helps scientists study marine life. And the 3rd is the close human-ocean relationship, including how our action can both harm and protect the ocean. Next, in the following 3 slides, I will share the conclusions we draw from all our analysis and the discussions, and talk about how the future outlook. Now let's look at how we can bring OSS into Taiwan formal education. I want to highlight some strengths of the OSS curriculum materials. They offer the structure and the sequential ocean science content with the complete unit, time-based design, and the 4 teaching kits. They help foster scientific literacy through the inquiry-based methods like exploration, observation, and discussion. They introduce innovative teaching approach that empower teachers, encourage cross-disciplinary collaboration, and makes sharing ideas easier. But by combining this approach and strengths, OSS can become a valuable part of Taiwan's school curriculum and classroom experience. And we will see the main approach from easy to difficult is thematic integration and using the flexible learning periods and developing it into the school-based curriculum. That is the most difficult. There is several challenges when it comes to promoting OSS. The first is lesson preparation can be very time-consuming. Teachers need strong motivation and might lack subject expertise if they are not from the nature science. Class hours are limited, especially if OSS is only taught during the flexible learning periods. There are also 18 cross-cutting issues competing for the time in the Taiwan curriculum. So resource and support can be structured. To address that challenge, we might consider offer incentives, and building teacher communities is the most important, and providing more teacher training. This step can make it easier for educator to adapt the sustain the OSS course. For OSS to grow in Taiwan school and to make sure it's implemented long term, we need to show three main types of support. The first is teaching material and equipment that are up to date and easy for teacher to use. And the second is teachers' expertise built through the professional development and the training programs. And the third is institution support, including funding, administrative backing, and policies, and that allows school to adapt OSS smoothly. On the top of that, we need a collaborative platform for sharing the resource and the best practice, professional learning community to strengthen teacher networks, and the national operational mechanism to keep everyone coordinated. With this support in place, OSS can be promoted more efficiently and sustainably. Okay, thank you for listening to my presentation. If you have any problem, any question, please feel free to ask me. I will be happy to discuss them for you later. Thank you.
Next, we have Young Sing Chin, who will be talking about promoting ocean science sequence textbooks and ocean literacy education, a summary report of achievements in 2023-2024.
Hello, everyone, and thank you for being here. My name is Chen Yingxing for Taiwan. I want to share how we promote the ocean science sequence or OSS in 5 counties in Taiwan. This talk will share highlights from our work. I will talk about the background when we did the result we saw and what challenges we face. Then I will share what we plan to do next. OSS stands for Ocean Science Sequence. It was different. It was used locally in the USA. Its code includes books and lessons for elementary and junior high school stage students. OSS help students learning by doing. It also supports topics like climate change and sustainability. It teaches the 7 principles for ocean literacy. We choose OSS because it matches the Taiwan's goals for marine education. OSS focus on hands-on activity learning. Students ask questions, try activity, and explore real topics. And 5 countries in Taiwan started using OSS early with national support. Across all 5 countries, we use similar strategies. We tied teachers with a workshop and peer meetings. We taught real lessons in class with teachers watching and discussing. We had puppet and others like fairs and experience, and we share what we learn with each other. Here's something number. For some Kiran Chan 19 teachers and 13 to 1,616 sisters. Ilan reached over to 30 students. Thailand, Kaohsiung, and Pingdong also had strong results. Each city joined works, gave lessons, and had showcase. Even country had something special. In England, student-led activity and help others learn. Thailand creative teachers and kids and born teacher teams. Kaohsiung use real press board and seminars to teach. Pingdong met found Q&A guests and share lessons between schools. We also ask students and teachers what they thought, what they idea. Students say, I found and enjoying learning science. Teachers say, OSS helped me rediscover the joy of teaching. This simple words meant a lot to us. Of course, we face challenges to a lot of to pair materials. Some listen 1 week too long for regular class time, and some teachers need more support or have to get stuck. To help with this problem, we tried a few solutions. We made teaching kids with everything already. We share online videos and the lessons planning. We also use winter and similar camps to teach OSS when I had more time. We also care about inclusion and fairness. Boys and girls including. We add topic about gender and science careers. We quality friendly and welcoming clothes for every student. Together, the 5 contests contain great model. We built lessons for work for local schools. We help make teaching easier and more fun. And we show other cities how to do the same. Because of this success, 4 sisters now want to join OSS. We hope this model can help expand marine education across Taiwan. So what's next? We want to connect 4 teachers for defense plans. We want to add more teaching tools online. We also want to link OSS to SDGs and continue with inquiry-based teachings. Okay, these photos show happy and proud moment for our events. Teachers, workers, studying, students explore, and everyone enjoy ocean learning. Again, thanks you everyone to join and support the events. The energy and the teamwork will make this event special. Thank you for MNR, the education teams, and all teachers for help. Thank you for listening. I'm happy to share it here.
Our last speaker is Won-Ken Su. We worked with her. You might have seen a picture of me. My wife actually worked with Shaman in the teacher programs last year. Glad to see you again. And she's going to be talking about students, foreign language, anxiety, and learning outcomes by ocean science sequence in bilingual education in Taiwan.
Okay, almost lunchtime, so I will be quickly finish my presentation. And right now I'm a little water drop from somewhere in the air into the ocean. And I'm Wei Su. My research interest in students' foreign language anxiety and learning outcomes by ocean science sequence in bilingual education in Taiwan. And you all know ocean literacy is introduced by a group of ocean scientists and educators in the United States. And ocean literacy was there. There are 7 very important principles here. And as Craig tell me, they divide into 3 parts. The first part is ocean and the earth. And the second part is ocean and biodiversity. And the third part is interaction between human and the ocean. And in Taiwan, because of the policy problem, and we start from our marine education from 2001, but it still continue. The government put a lot of effort in marine education, divided into 5 parts. The first one is social, marine society, marine culture, marine science, resource, and recreation. And until now, in 2018, the curriculum guideline of 12-year basic education, just like the global research, is still continue right now. And as we know, OECD published a series of reliable reports tell us how important is communication. So Taiwan, we also focus on this part. And we all hope our students, they are involved in our teaching, they are creative, and they are energetic in class. But actually in Taiwan, lots of students, they just live in class. And as far as I know, Howard and Cobb's, their research, they're talking about this foreign language classroom anxiety. They're talking about the impact of the classroom learning. The student is going to face this kind of problem. And also in my class, sometimes I will feel like that. And anxiety is a subjective feeling of tensions, nervous, just like now, just like me right now. And foreign language anxiety is a specific situation in class. Okay, maybe one day we will have some send-me communication anxiety or something. But we all know maybe we can collaborate together. And as a teacher, I want my teaching is enjoyable, happier, and like a amusement park for class. And I know I can cooperate with others. We can work together. And that's why I use this material into my Clio classroom. And Clio, we all know, is content language integrate with learning. And there's 4 parts. For the first part is content. So like teacher has to teach the subject in class. So OSS just follow the ocean literacy. They created the Unit 1, Unit 2, and Unit 3. That is interaction with human and ocean. And in my class, I will use these models and the big word to introduce the student my idea. I also put some Chinese that they know, because some of the students, they might not learn this word before. And I use the sentence for them. I want to them to understand what are we going to learn, and they know the correct this word. And they all in OSS they also provide some vocabulary that my student can learn, but they don't have to know each word. But when they hear I'm talking about the word, they can understand. And I also provide the scientific language. They can use this language to introduce their idea in class, and like scaffolding and also communication. I think this is very important in OSS classroom. Students need to talk, share their idea. Even in writing is a communication way also. And I will put a sentence on the board, then they will read. Of course, some of them don't understand each word, so I will translate a little bit, and they have to share their idea. They can use English or Chinese, and they will share to each other, pair, group, or in class. And next one is cognition. They will learn from the OSS, and they will try to predict what they are thinking, and they will try to analyze what they are doing. And I always ask them, why? Why do you think that? Why do you have this kind of reason? Where is the evidence come from? And they'll also share me. Like this one, we do this unit 1.3, and they will tell me why they think that way. There, some of their ducks is going around the world, and because the student say, because I like to explore the world, so I want to be a duck. And the last one is culture. Culture is very important part in Clio. They have to share their culture to their friends and learning the culture of the different thinking style. Okay, and also interaction, this part. And this is my research framework. I was thinking maybe using English will make them too afraid of speaking, or maybe they will not to tell us their ideas. But I think ocean science sequence, the hands-on teaching and inquiry math really help them a lot. And I will do the research, of course, and do the experiment, and then I will collect all the data and write down my result. And I got 22 students in class and 2 classes. They are grade 3 students. Their Chinese was not good and also English. So I will try to use very easy words to let them understand. And they are all public school students and north of Taiwan. I collect their worksheet and questionnaire. I film the videotape in class. I sometimes interview them. Do you enjoy in class? When I speak English, how do you feel? Sometimes they will tell me, teacher, I like you speak English more than Chinese. And I say, why? Because when I speak in Chinese, it's more mean. Yeah, it's more serious. Okay, but in English, I don't know why. Maybe I don't know. And that's questionnaire for them. At first, I will read each word to them and explain to them. After the pretest, they all know the questionnaire meaning, and they will do it by themselves. And then the next one is about ocean science learning achievement. There are 3 different parts, and I want to know how do you feel about the ocean. Some of the students, they are really love ocean science. They can tell me, the grade 3 student, they come here and say, Teacher Jasmine, do you know the volcano from the ocean? And tell me a lot about the ocean science knowledge. And I say, sorry, I have ocean science anxiety. I don't know that, but thanks for sharing. Yeah, and some students are really fear to communicate in class, or especially talking in public. But I think the ocean science secrets can help them because the inquiry and hands-on activity make them love and enjoy in my class. And the scaffolding, the sentence and the vocabulary also provide them to know what to tell, what to talk, how to share. And the sharing republic, the student may choose to use the language they are familiar with. I think that's okay, maybe Chinese or English. The most important is they have to communicate with each other, just like OECD enforce. Thank you, everyone. That's my sharing.
Thank you. So the speakers from this session, please come up. And if there's any speakers from session 1, John, please come up, and then we'll have 10 minutes of questions. There are some more comments.
Yeah.
So please come up.
23 minutes.
23 minutes.
So
Marie will be our timekeeper.
Lunch is ready.
So, a question?
I'll be quick, but it's just a bit of a comment on everyone presenting. I just want to thank everyone that, in terms of that anxiety, I think there was a perfect exploration of, in the classroom of children, all the different levels of anxiety they have and why. I think your work is tremendous looking into that, because I've seen in our own communities and school children, the ones that speak up and the ones that, they're scared. So I think that's wonderful work you're doing. But I just wanted to make a general comment. All of you and all the presenters who are presenting in their second language, I just want to deeply congratulate you and give all my respect, because, I don't speak Taiwanese, and I really appreciate all the efforts you've gone to in presenting in English. So thank you.
Thanks for your presentation. I did learn a lot, and I have a question for myself and for Ms. Chen and Mr. Liu. Because I introduced myself. I'm teaching OSS in Chiayi now. Since last semester and also last year, I taught in another schools, but I'm not a certificated teacher. And but I have a question for Ms. Chen. It's kind of like from your slides. There are some area has OSS promotions, but not including JAI. And also, because as Mike mentioned about that, we know ocean literacy and ocean education is very important, and it should be not only in the classroom but also at home or at school or the community. I like this, and also I like your saying we are being the skipping stones, and I'm trying to be the skipping stone in Chai. And because honestly, I will have a sharing. I'm a volunteer storytelling because I'm not a school teacher. So what I can do is I'm a volunteer storytelling in the public school, and the kids enjoy the class a lot. That's why I like OSS materials. And I'm going to have a sharing in May. But after your presentation, I feel I don't know. I question myself. Should I go forward or should I stop here? Because I want to know if I have a question for Mr. Liu. Do you think teaching OSS should be, certificate teachers, or just like non-certificate teachers with patience is qualified and to teach this material too? And also this question is for Craig. Yeah, thank you very much.
Thank you. And I ask first, I don't think the teaching OSS materials need to be a certificate teacher, because the education is several ways, informal education and the formal education, as is good to 并行. Yeah, right. So that in the different place and teach the different students is more widely and can touch a lot of students. So in my project is the Haiwei want to get more touch to students, reach to more students. So he want to know how to do the better in the formal education, but it doesn't mean you must be certificated teacher. You can, only the lab teacher can teach the OSS material. Thank you.
And sorry, I in this JAI this year to promote staff. I think you I think in my the teachers things I feel you have interesting you can go to maybe you have allowed you have many different things and feel to the main teachers challenge. Yes.
Although we are not doing in the accomplishment, but it's not showing any. But her answer is like JAI in this year they start to promote.
Let me just say, the Ocean Affairs Council. We have so many people doing the oceanside sequence. There's so many. Yeah, not actually good. But
we have 5 groups, right? Including JAI, but this is not this.
I mean, we have, as I know, last week we had 5 girls, but it's not including JAI.
No, this is one of the projects. We have many projects.
Oh, we have many. And also, I'm not doing this year. Yeah, I did it before. I Oregon OSS teaching. But it seems like I just have a question. Should our sharing, should it be necessary? If I told my partners because my partners now they are not certificated teachers. If I share them and then I encourage them to join me, but we found that we can't do anything with any support. I don't know what to do. Okay, can you give me any suggestions? Thank you very much.
Sorry, I give a very quick response. Dr. Leo just present one of the project. His slide is one of the project. We have many projects of ocean science sequence. So it's one of the projects, not including, this is all of Taiwan. This is one of them. We have hundreds of projects. So don't be stuck in which is, we are not included in this project. Yes.
I don't know how it works in Taiwan. I'm not familiar with the education system here. In the US, classroom teachers, certificated classroom teachers welcome and need support and help and assistance and expertise from other people in the community, from scientists, from volunteers, from high school students, college students, graduate students. Anyone who's willing to come and help a classroom teacher is welcome, because teaching is too hard. And no one teacher can be an expert on everything that they need to teach. So the more that we have partnerships with community organizations and parent volunteers and scientists and professors from the university, the better our classrooms are for the young children. It's really essential. It's not just that they're allowed to teach, it's that they have to teach in order to provide a high quality education for our children. We can't leave this up to classroom teachers alone. There's too much, and it's too hard, and it's too big.
Thank you. Because don't forget, the ocean science sequence come from museum. It's come from Lawrence of Science. It's a museum. It's not a school. But cooperate with school. Now we are doing the discussion here, but in Hualien, in Yilan, they are doing promotion with the museum. Tomorrow we have an ocean science sequence workshop, and they are preparing now. We are doing cooperation with them, Yilan and doing. So they are not formal teachers. They are volunteers. And yesterday in the National Museum of Keelung, they are doing volunteer training. All are retired, and they are training to teach. Social education or informal education is powerful. So not related to which one. And we have a lot of projects is cooperating, doing the same thing. So just if we want to do, like yesterday, we have students, they also teach. Harry joined it. It's terrific. So not specific project, we necessarily have to join it, but we have power and we have network to support. Thank you.
It's mostly a comment for the last, sorry, I forgot your name, but the last presenter. Thank you for your presentation, the efforts you put in teaching the class. And when I was looking at the presentation, I thought about you might already know this, the thinking routine. So when I was working at a school as a science coordinator for a couple of years, teachers had very difficulty in teaching science because they didn't have a background in science. And the thinking routines by the Project Zero of Harvard University really helped them a lot. So I think you can look into that because there are so many examples of how to start a class and how to introduce a topic in science, and especially for grade 3 students.
I have the same problem at first when I teaching ocean science secrets, because people ask me, I'm a language teacher, and for myself, I don't know scientists at all. I say I have ocean science anxiety. And like the tonality, I just learned this word in this year. Yeah, I don't know how to explain to my student, but I ask them, why do you think that? Can you tell me, I'm a teacher and you are a scientist. If I have this kind of main goal, I think I don't have to know everything, just like Quick said. I just know how to teach them. I just know how to introduce them, how to think, how to critical, how to do experience, and they do very, very well. In my class, my student always teach me, how to explain. I was like, wow, amazing, you did a good job. Thank you. Next time, maybe you can share more information to me. I'd really like to know. And I feel more and more encouraged in class, and they want to share more and more. And they got more like the conscience about how to protect the ocean. Yeah, that's what I think. Thank you.
No, you had a question? You had a question? If there's time. There's time. For you, there's always
Okay,
time.
so I have a question about the national curriculum in Taiwan. In the U.S., Lawrence Hall of Science develops instructional materials like OSS, but many others also that are used around the United States. And we think philosophically that our instructional materials should help teachers to teach the national curriculum, and that they should influence the next national curriculum. That we don't want to just teach what's required. We want to be the mechanism, the engine that drives the next national curriculum. And so I'm wondering, in Taiwan, how do you influence the next national curriculum to include more ocean science?
This is the reason that the Haiwei giving this project to our school. Is if they want to know what means in the Taiwan national curriculum. So depends on our finding. It can know what is missing. So they can just go to the 教育部 Ministry of Education. It can talk to them and say what is missing, and they will discuss the next version curriculum can add what concept and what things and what subject into the next version curriculum. Yeah. So Haiwei is and the Ministry of the Education is have a lot of power to change to adjust the curriculum. Yeah. Thank you.
Maybe one last question. Come in.
Finally, maybe you don't know that I'm actually attendants, not workers, but never mind. But I always have a question. It's like you mentioned you're from, maybe like Helen, you're from Ministry of Education, and your like project is from the OAC. So we're talking about marine education. So what's the like? Are these two departments? They are like competition relationship or like a cooperation? Because I couldn't see. Like there's a many project about this, but seems it's kind of like a little bit competitive. Is it like how these two important departments how to cooperate, or how you guys like how to separate your targets?
Okay, just the OAC and the Ministry of the Education is as before, maybe in the promoting marine education, like some kind of competitive. Yeah. So in this year, our professor is the Taiwan Ocean Marine Education Center's 主任. Director of the PNEC, Wu Jingguo, Professor Wu. Yes, he want to combine these two institutions. So let them don't fight each other. So we combine this promotion system is use the education of the Ministry of the Education, the system of the Ministry of Education to do the OACs want to do. So you use the same system and want to collaborate of these two institutions. Thank you.
And yeah, we found the National Academy of Marine Research. We under the OAC. And I think within the education, not just the one way. So the education is public. We want to say that. So not just the company, it's all everyone can do that.
So I think time is up. I want to again thank all the presenters. Very good job. I think Taiwan is in good shape with these people and these agencies to bring ocean science into the classrooms, maybe home and communities. I thank all of you for staying, for dealing with the technology issues we had. And now we can go eat, but remember at 2 o'clock, we have a very important discussion where you understand how Ipmen was created. And then the ministers and all the formal important people will be coming at 3:30. So thank you again very much.
Okay, so the next session about start at 3. Start at 3, and the room, yeah, it's over there across the hall over right there. It's not in this room. Next session is not in this room. So it's across the other way in the Huami Hall. Okay.